How we doing, everybody? You ready to pick some corners here on a Saturday? This is some Back to the Future stuff we got going on because I'm actually recording this way earlier in the week, and that's because I'm going to a wedding this weekend, and I'm not going to be able to be here. I don't want to be one of those guys, putting myself in some empty room, getting you a video for it. Just doesn't feel the same. I have all this stuff here, and it's meant to be used, and also aesthetically and the sounds, everything is done right here. So I'd rather look forward toward the games on the weekend than try to give it to you last second from the corner of an apartment or a hotel room or something like that. So I'm going to go through some of these Saturday games. I heard your message loud and clear last week. This guy, all he's doing is talking about bets. Well, normally I have somebody doing this with me that's going through the games, and I just don't want to sit here like an idiot scrolling. Imagine that, then I'll be like one of those people on TikTok waiting for a live to start. You ever seen that? Hey, guys, just started the live, waiting for some people to come through. Just waiting to come through. No, I don't want to do that, so I was just talking, and then I went off the top of my memory about some of the games. But I have the games here, so I will talk about them way more. I do, however, want to thank, I'm sorry I forgot your name. I mean, I'd just be saying a username anyway, who was able to come up with that information, saying that there were several apps that pulled from like the same source. So the bets that you see on Ballybet were the same bets that I saw on Bet Rivers. And then all of a sudden, I went on to check Bet Rivers after he made that comment, and sure as you can add 2 points from a player on each team. So for certain games that are going to go over, some of these games I like to call ruckus games. When I say ruckus games, I really just mean teams who can get in these wild, these 5, 4, 6, 3, these games that go way over that are going to present opportunities to take players, multiple players, to have like 2+ points and get some absurd payouts. And if you think that's not possible, just look to some of the games we pointed towards last weekend. The first night that I tried it, I was able to hit one with the Leafs and the Sabres. So it can happen. And it even did happen with the Leafs and Lightning. Plenty of bets on the boards, and one of the guys from the Patreon, he uploaded one. I also want to say, if I choose a game to be a ruckus game, if I see the Lightning playing the Sabres, and I take Braden Point for 2 points, but you want to take Kucherov, that's fine. You want to take Stamkos. As long as it's part of the guys who are going to be on that top power play, that's usually how you can start stacking up points. So the other night on the channel, we gave Tavares. He ended up having no points, and a bunch of people got screwed. But the one dude who flipped out Tavares with Marner, because on Caesars, one more thing, that you're not allowed to add a player who has a over 1.5 point total for their point total, like a Nathan McKinnon or a Rantanen. You're not allowed to add those guys to your same game parlays. You have to use guys who are at 0.5. And Tavares was the only guy for that game against the Lightning. Nylander, Marner, and Austin Matthews were all over the 1.5 point total in terms of what it was set at. So they were just not there on the Caesars same game tab. So the first name that was there was Tavares. And since he's on that top power play, I went with him for the video. And that's why I chose that one for the video, and it didn't hit because he was the best one that they had available, unfortunately. But all those other guys had a point in that game. Anyway, that's what I mean with the ruckus game. When I say ruckus, I mean games that can just be one of the wild ones, the highest score on the night, essentially, that give you the ability to take a player from both teams to potentially snag 2 points, and that really multiplies your winnings. Now, I always want to say, it's a classic conundrum when giving out picks, I've realized, because the smart thing to do is you focus on one or two. You make, like, if you want 3 bets, you win 2 out of 3, you're a winner. Meatloaf's a winner. But I know that the majority of people who watch videos and make bets, I've seen your tickets. It's rarely, I think the Islanders are going to win, and here's my ticket to prove it. You guys have some crazy same-game parlays. So that's why I take the time to do this, because unfortunately, /fortunately, depending on how you look at it, That's what the market calls for. And if the market wants these massive payouts, I'm trying to figure out ways to get them. You guys want massive payouts in the NHL? Try to figure out the ruckus game. In the NFL, what do? I pick games that have opportunities to go crazy. We see, the Eagles play the Cowboys. Plenty of guys who can go way over that total. You see the Bengals play the Bills. T. Higgins, 55-yard total, goes over 100 yards because they have Burrow. It's a game where they have to keep throwing. You try to find the games like that. We're looking for the NHL version of Bills, Bengals, teams who could really, fill up the score sheet with some stats and who will keep chucking as the game goes on. We're looking for the NHL version of that. So that's why I try to get those two points from a guy on each side. If you hit those, with an over or something, you're usually looking at like plus 1,000 or something like that. So I'll continue to give those out as long as you guys don't bust my balls, because if it's about being right, I would just say like, oh yeah, take the Carolina Hurricanes. That's my bet for the night. See you later. I don't want to do that. I'm trying to give you guys what you want. And if you want those big same-game parlays, then you'll be getting some big same-game parlay. The biggest boat that could be found in the harbor. All right, so you guys want me to talk about these Saturday games. I obviously have no prices. I only have the schedule. I can guess the prices. And what I'll try to do, kind of like some sort of chess player who have to think 3 moves ahead, I'll try to think 3 bets ahead, depending on what's going on with these teams. So the Senators are getting booed on their own home ice. They're going to have an opportunity to make good on that before this game. But Senators Flames looks like a weird game that can go over. This looks like a same-game parlay over combination mixture. This game looks like, I know in the Flames you don't think of as a scoring team, but obviously when you see the Sens play on their home ice, look at some of these games in the recent stretch. The same teams that couldn't stop this from happening last year, it happens again and again. If you don't make any significant coaching changes, that's the only thing that's going to change the look and the feel of the teams. I'll never forget as an Islander fan, they went from the dead last defense in the NHL to the #1 defense in the NHL because they hired Barry Trotz. That's what happens when you bring in a new coach. That's what happens when you sit behind a desk. You forget things. Like the weight of a coach who comes in and fixes a situation. That's my favorite Liam Neeson line. That's what happens when you sit behind a desk.
You forget things.
I put my own lines in half the time. I'll just say that in the middle of the...
That's what happens when you sit behind a desk. You forget things.
Like to give the appropriate amount of time before you order something on Amazon. Whatever the hell it may be.
That's what happens when you sit behind a desk.
You forget things. Like the Hard Rock app that allows you to add as many unders on player points. Still thrilled about that. Still trying to find as many ways as I can to access this Hard Rock betting app. Please come to Florida anytime soon. All right, so there's one right there. Now, Hurricanes, Lightning, this is a great example where I'm going to stay away. Situation was reversed, absolutely going Hurricanes at home. Lightning have been a damn good home team. They struggled on the road. Just looking now, Jesus Christ, 4 overtime losses. I believe they're 0-4 in overtime. My goodness. Make sure if you ever bet on the Lightning, you utilize the option tie no bet. That means if it's even after 60 minutes, you just get your money back. I don't think you want to be fooling around with those 4 overtime losses. But in that game in Tampa, that's where they tend to play better, way better actually. I don't want to mess with that, even though I think the Hurricanes have been playing very good hockey. Canucks Maple Leafs. These Canucks games are all starting to trend over. 2 teams to score. These are just quick strike bets. 2 teams, both teams to go over 2+. And I'll say that because you could store it and take it with anything else that you like on this slate. Capitals Islanders. You guys know how I feel about the Washington Capitals. I think they're a disgrace. They're old, slow, that young, dumb, and full of whatever. Well, the Capitals are old, slow, and have no go. In any opportunity like this, I'm going to bet against them, assuming we get a good line. The Islanders never deserve to be a big favorite in any game because of their lack of front-end talent. It's never like they're truly pulling away in any of these games. I'm trying to think if they've won any game by more than like 2 goals. Do the Islanders have a single blowout all year? Or are all their wins tricklers? I would like the Islanders in that home game against the Capitals. They did beat the Capitals in Washington last weekend, but they were thoroughly outplayed in that game. I would imagine they have a better effort in this one. I would take the Islanders there. There you go. Sabres, Penguins. That can be absolute ruckus. You want a ruckus game? Now, the ruckus might not hit. Okay. But if you're going to go over and it doesn't even go and it stays under, then it's very likely your point props didn't hit anyway. But that's a game where you can go over 6.5. You can go 2 points for Crosby and a point for Dahlin, something like that. Coyotes, Predators, I got nothing. Blues, Avalanche, back in Colorado again. They just played the Blues on their home ice. I mean, that you're going to have to play a pretty penny. You guys know, did I say play or pay? You're going to have to pay a pretty penny for that one, some alliteration. And that would probably be a good opportunity to do one of the Caesars same game parlays, the classic Avalanche, Makar point, hope you're getting even money, something like that. Oilers, you just got to stay away from in every way, shape, or form until they figure out they put their goalie on waiver. The goalie that they paid, they put on waivers. What are they sending him to the minors? Skinner's having some second-year troubles. They're pretty down bad, and the Kraken ain't up good either. I mean, you guys know how I feel about the Kraken. Every time a Kraken loses a tentacle, Andy's smiling somewhere because of that series against the Avalanche. You know, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs. Are they going to be a one-year wonder? I think so. Are they going to work hard a lot? Yeah, they are going to work hard a lot, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to dogfight them into the playoffs this time around. And then you got Flyers Kings in a rematch they just played, and the Kings got the win. You guys know how I feel about the Kings. I'm pretty high on them, and I would lean in their direction to win again against the Flyers in that game. Might be closer than people think, though. And I think that's most of the games right there. Are you happy if you came back last week and you got all pissed off? Oh my God, sometimes you guys have to know about that stuff. Because I can't tell you how many messages I got saying, well, where's that ticket from? Where can I do that? Well, if I talk about it and show you the things, you won't have to ask. So that's my take for this week on this Saturday slate of games. I have no prices, but from what I saw right there, I think I gave you pretty good indications. If you want me to do some guessing, okay, how about that? We'll run through these games one at a time, and I'm going to guess what the price ends up being. Senators, Flames. Senators are going to be minus 165 favorites. Potentially 175. Maybe it opens 165 and then moves. Lightning are going to be... That's going to be borderline even. I'm going minus 115 Lightning. Canucks, Maple Leafs. Leafs are going to be minus 135. Capitals, Islanders. Islanders are going to be minus 165. Sabres, Penguins. Penguins will be minus 120. Coyotes, Predators. Predators are going to be minus 125. Avalanche, Blues. Avalanche going to be minus 210. Kraken, Oilers. They can't stop themselves from making the Oilers favorites. They were just favorites in Vancouver. So I'm going to go, Jesus Christ. Oilers are going to be minus 120. And then Flyers, Kings. Kings are going to be minus 195. There you go. There are my guesses. All right. If you want to know what bets I'm actually going to do, you know what you got to do. Even if you don't want the bets and you just want to support me for what I'm doing out there, go join the Patreon. That's where I put the betting tickets and I chat with everybody in the thread. That's where I can get updates. Like I know earlier in the week, I hope it worked out. But I told them, we got Jonathan Quick starting. I actually like the over in that now. I actually don't mind a couple of Detroit player props. But The only way I can convey that to you is in a live chat thread. Hard to let you guys know that early in the morning when the starting goalies haven't even really been announced. So if you subscribe to the Patreon there, you'll have access to all that stuff. Don't feel pressured. Don't feel obligated. You don't have to, but obviously it helps me out a lot. With all these scam services out there now, people doing this, at least people will be able to say, yeah, you know what? I got to give it, the guy gives it an honest go in there. I try to make sure everything's always out, give my take on whatever people need, try to maybe give people a second thumbs up on things. I do what I can. It ain't always going to work, but at least it's not a scam service where you think you're getting one thing and you're not. You join, you're going to see my betting tickets, and then I'm going to talk to you in a chat thread about different things and ideas that some people have, other people have. That's what you get if you join there. And I obviously have my Sniff Drip. You don't have to get it, but I appreciate it. If we really start getting hot, I would appreciate it if you guys help me out. I want to make my money back on that clothing. If not, I understand. I'll be back with you guys next week. I'll be able to have some prices and whatnot. Things will be normalized. I don't have to go anywhere next weekend. I got my friend who's going to help me, have all the information and graphics up. So next week we'll return to normal, although I think we kept this fairly normal. Appreciate everything you guys do, and come back here and, make sure you're obviously subscribed to my YouTube page. You got to engage with these things. You've been doing a great job so far. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I think, if YouTube gives me a fair crack, I think this thing will start to grow. And the more that it grows, the more hockey related videos I can do, and I don't know, longer form stuff, maybe live stuff. Everything's a possibility as long as it continues to grow. All right. I will be back with you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend and good luck with the picks/sniffs. See ya.